Okay,
But
hold
no,
on one second. I'm gonna let you listen to this guy. I have some thoughts, but I'll say it afterwards.
Gang, gang, gang. Hop out the scat, where my shooters at. Guess they running late. All my ops probably smoking rocks, so I got time to waste. Picked up my pace, cause I saw a shot 10 feet down the block, ain't got a lock. So I walk into it, then I saw the boss, and he like, how? He said, how's your day? I said, I'm doing great. Then I upped it at his face, and I said, open up that case. I took a chain, plus a pen and two. Depending on my mood, I need a run, but the front is shut. I only got one tool, then I saw 12. Dusty rang my bell, he said, what's the move? I said, I'm doomed, cause the cops just said that if I move, they shoot. Said you a fool, if you got to choose, then I'll be there in two. Now I'm pacing, and my heart is racing. Don't know what to do, I'm acting cool. Drippy like a pool, waiting for the goons. And I seen 05 lit off too. We started racing with the loot, don't run no trip. We started racing with the loot.
All right, so I'll let you hear that. And now let's go to the comment section. No Brett Cooper. Although I do love her content, by the way. But anyways, let's see here. Okay, so let's look at some people's opinions on the song. First sarcastic remark is making it out the gated community with this one. Fire. We making it out the suburbs. Laughing a lot with a dead face. Another laughing. He looks like the kid getting pulled by the ear when his mom is mad. He's talking about his most recent GTA 5 heist. King Von actually lived the life he rapped about. Nah, you sound like the robot rapper they just dropped effing Mecca. Laughing really hard. And it says, making out the 2-story, 6-bedroom, 6-bathroom house with this one. Cold. Fire. Fire. Okay. Def gonna make it out the mansion with this one. This is a good one here. Okay. I'm tired of people fantasizing a life that, especially when, I hate this sort of line. I'm tired of people fantasizing a life like that, especially when they come from a good home with 2 hardworking parents. Okay. So let's kind of just dive right in. I'm going to try to make this video really short. So my issue is that this music in general should not be promoted. And it doesn't matter the race of the individual making the music, because at the end of the day, this sort of music is not beneficial to anyone. It is of no benefit to any individual who listens to it or any individual who makes it. Like, it is not beneficial. All it does is degrade and demean anyone who would go against it, really. So for me, when I hear this sort of music and I see that it's a white individual rapping about it, I just see a person who's just rapping about something that they may or may not have lived that is not worthy of airtime, right? But for the people in this comment section, they've done 2 things that I believe are a grave error. One, they made a giant assumption that because he's white, that he has no clue what he's talking about. You got one person assuming that he came from a 2-parent household because he made this music, right? You got another person saying that, he's straight up out the mansion with this one. All of the comments ran along the lines of he's privileged and yet making music about something he knows nothing about. Now, what's kind of a little off about that is the fact that there are plenty of white individuals who have robbed jewelry stores, robbed convenience stores, robbed plenty of places at gunpoint, and have shot at cops and have died for said thing. So to assume that because he's white and appears a certain way, that there's no way he could know anything about it is a bit ridiculous, because he could easily know more about it than the black individuals who also rap about it. So you just don't know. Now, if you know the rapper personally and know his life story, then maybe you could say that. And maybe some of these people in the comments have dealt with this gentleman before. And even if they have, error number 2 is the fact that they themselves are the type that will enjoy music by people who may not live the life that they rap about. And that's kind of part of the problem for me, is that you have people who complain on one side that, man, that person ain't living that life that they rapping about. You better be living that life if you're going to rap about it. It's like, wait, so you're giving it as a badge of honor and pride if the person raps about something that they actually lived, like in the sense of they are currently doing horrible things, or they did horrible things and are proud of it, and you'd say that's worthy of promotion. But someone just making something up and just rapping about something because they think it's cool to rap about, that's the issue. I think you're missing the mark there, because again, if someone, whether or not someone lived it, doesn't change the fact that the music itself is of no benefit to anyone. Now, if he made the song and he was saying that all of that stuff is horrible, like in the music, it paints it as a bad thing, that might be a little different, because then at that point you're speaking expressly against those sorts of behaviors. But if you're going to make music about it, and then your entire message is that it's cool and that that's who you are, then it's of no benefit to anyone. There is no societal benefit to this type of music. And then another problem I have is that a lot of those same people will be upset and call people racist and so on, who make assumptions about individuals within the Black community. And even the concept of Black community is a little bit skewed, because again, what shade of brown makes you a part of the community? What level of DNA makes you a part of the community? You know, like, how is a person considered as a part of the Black community? You know, because that's kind of a thing that is a bit confusing, right? Because there's way too many facets to it, you know, because there are people who are extremely light-skinned, very fair-skinned, as some people would say, who are still considered part of the Black community because they have a Black person within their lineage. And they'll say, yeah, there you go, that person is African American. And then there are other people, you know, who people will say that they aren't a member of the Black community, who have a ton of melanin, but the reason they're not a part of the Black community is because they don't agree with the ideology. But then it's like, well, there are people who do agree with the ideology who don't have any real melanin like that. Like, they are very fair skinned. You could say they're white, you know, and they'll say, oh, no, they're Black, even if they don't have a bunch, but they're close enough, you know, right? Or they have a few features that feels traditionally African American, which confuses me, you know. And that's part of the reason why I say, you know, like when I speak of the African American community or the Black community, or if I say my community or anything like that, I just speak in a general sense of like whatever the main consensus is, that's what I go along with. But for me personally, I just feel like in general, there's no benefit to our community with this sort of music. There's just literally no benefit to it. There's the only thing that you can get from it is degradation. That's it. Because if I present this music to people who know nothing about Black people, they've never really had any contact or experience with an individual who is Black, if this is the first thing they get to see, and then I'm sitting there telling them, you know, alongside the music, I'm saying that, yeah, this is our culture, I think they would have every right to assume that, okay, so then if that's like Black culture, they seem to be kind of violent and they seem to be a little bit scary, you know. You say, well, no, that's racist. I'm like, well, then maybe, just maybe, we should stop promoting that sort of thing. You know, if someone says, my gosh, Black people are aggressive, and then you decide to be very aggressive, then you're just proving the point. You're not helping it. Okay. You know, so that's kind of part of the reason why I use the analogy oftentimes in conversations about, you know, music and other things when it comes to the culture, where I say, you know, if you've got a lawn and I've got a lawn, we're neighbors, and both of our lawns have grass that's 3 feet high and weeds of all kinds growing throughout, and maybe we've got a few pests that are in both of our lawns. If I lean over the fence and tell you that your lawn is horribly kept and you need to do something about it because it's affecting my lawn, I would seem insane and a massive hypocrite, because that same person could just look right across the fence and say, your lawn looks exactly the same as mine. And even if I fix my lawn in its entirety and you do nothing to yours, mine will inevitably be affected by yours, because the weeds can drift and fall in my lawn. So then I have to pay more money to fix the issues that your side of the fence is causing. Whereas all you have to do is fix your side and I fix mine, and we both work together on it. And then before you know it, there is no more issue for either of us. We can be cooperative as we work to fix our lawns, you know? So when people say, white people need to deal with the racism and all that stuff, and we have no part to play in dealing with racism, it's all white people. And it's like, well, no, because again, you have music like this, and again, it doesn't matter if it's white, black, whatever, but specifically when us as black individuals make music like this and then promote it as our culture, and then we defend this sort of music, then yeah, we're adding to the foundations upon which people say that black people do this or black people act a certain way. We're doing a massive disservice to ourselves. So what we should be doing is trimming our own hedges, mowing our own lawn, putting down weed killer. Because again, I feel like this sort of music is one of the biggest weeds in our lawn. Because it's the thing that is the most mainstream, that is constantly used as our culture. So that's why I say that it, and particularly for this video, needs to be one of the main focuses. So people need to stop listening to this sort of music. People need to stop promoting this sort of music and all the stuff in between in order to fix this one issue in the lawn. And that doesn't mean that there isn't a part to be played for people on the opposing end who need to stop looking at African Americans as a giant monolith, and that we're all individuals. We all have our own mindsets and ideologies. We may overlap on things, but we're all individuals. So don't treat us as one hive mind. So they do have a part to play. But for us in the community, if you want to see a change, you have to be a part of that change you want to see. So for this sort of music to be one of the most mainstream things that gets presented as a part of our culture, we need to stop that. We need to work on that. And we need to be willing to say no in order to see some real positive change. Because I just totally don't agree with any of this music. I think it's horrible. I think it just demeans. I think when you have music coming from black artists who say, oh, I live this life, so that makes it even better because I'm authentic, because I'm out here slinging drugs. I'm out here shooting people. I'm out here really running the block. I'm out here putting my girls on the street to work, calling all these black women the B word. I'm really doing that. That's not good. And if people are promoting that person because they're authentic, that's horrible. Like, no, you shouldn't want anybody to be making that sort of music, nor putting that sort of stuff out there and saying that it's black culture. So again, this sort of thing bothers me a lot. And I'm trying to keep the video from being like 30 minutes long. So I'm missing some of the nuance that I normally would go into. But yeah, this sort of topic bothers me a lot. I just cannot stand this sort of music, and not rap music, just this sort of rap music.